Did you know there's a tool in the Astro ecosystem for dealing with fonts like Next.js does? You can actually optimize them using this Astro Font package. And in this brief tutorial, I'm going to cover the basics of getting started with it. You ready? Let's jump in. Hey, what's up? My name is Chris and welcome to Coding in Public. All right, let's check out this Astro Font project. You can see here the point is to optimize them, whether they're local, custom, or fonts over any CDN like Google, for instance. Okay, so first of all, we just need to install the package. So let me jump over here and I'll install the font. So let's get this back up and running with npm run dev. Okay, so back over this way, they are going to give you some instructions here for Cloudflare workers because it does need to use some node imports. And so if you're using that, go ahead and follow this tutorial. But since I'm not, I'm just going to jump directly down here. You can see that by default, all you have to do is add this little config file right here, and it takes care of everything else, which is really, really nice. Obviously, depending on your CSS setup, you may need to add like pop-ins, for instance, in this case, somewhere else. So we'll do that here in a second. I'm going to come over here and I've got a base layout in this particular project. And right here is where I have my head tag. So here's where I would want to add this Astro config. So what I need to do is come up here and go ahead and import this as well. And let's just use this as a starting point. You can see here that using a Google font URL, what I'm doing is actually downloading the font right here and setting a couple of properties here on this object. Now on my machine, if I come over here and refresh, it looks like this is working, but what's actually happening is it's just picking up this name from my local font. However, when I jump over to my Tailwind config file, you'll notice I have not actually set this up as my custom font for Tailwind. So I do need to come in here and I need to go ahead and add font family. And then I'm going to just set the sans here, and I'll set this to Poppins and then sans serif. So nothing will change much visually here because it was already picking it up locally on my system. But now if the client that's loading this particular page does not have Poppins installed, it will actually pick it up as well using my Tailwind config. Okay, so we're set and ready to go just using the basic Google import. You can see how easy it is to get started with. However, you obviously might have other use cases. For instance, you may want to actually pick a individual file here from Google. Now we haven't really looked at this yet, but let me come over here to my fonts.google. Sure, that plus Jakarta Sans should work. And if I were to come over here, you'll notice that I've already selected a family and I can get the embed code. You'll notice that this link right here is the same link that it was using right over this way. So obviously it's a different typeface, but other than that, it's the exact same. So that may be something you want to do. You could also, however, come inside of here and grab this and do this and grab individual font files. You can see here, I've got one right here, and that's what they're doing in this next example. So you can see here, they're grabbing an individual font file and saying, just give me that particular one. Now, notice here, they're using the SRC. Now, up here, we didn't have to use that because we were using the Google Fonts URL. However, since we're pointing to a font file directly, we need to pass this as one of the different options. So this is another example of how you could use this to pick off a particular font, whether it's Google font or some other font on a CDN. So I could just come over here and go ahead and set it up like this. And if I jump over here, this should still work. Now let's also look at some local fonts. So if I come over here, you'll notice that what I can do is the same kind of thing, except instead of passing it a URL, I'm going to use this join import from node path, and I'm just going to pass it my publics, fonts, and then whatever the name of the file happens to be. And then obviously I set everything else the exact same. So let me go ahead and open up this font file over here under public fonts. I've got Renad bold, I think that's how you say it, and medium for both bold and italics. So what I can do is replace all of this with my own custom config. So let's get rid of this right here. And I'm just going to paste in this custom config. Now, as you can see here, I've got to pull in a couple of things like this join right here. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to grab this node path here. This is because it's a local font again in my public directory. Now notice it looks very similar to what we've already done. I've got the name of the actual font right here. I'm passing in a style, a weight, and then I'm going to point it to the actual file in my directory. This would be underneath public, fonts, and then Renad medium in this case, and then same thing here for italic. Then we've got the same thing here except our bold and finally our bold italic. Now once again, I need to come over this way and change this out to Renad, the name I gave it, like this. And if I jump over this way, now this should actually be updated with this new font. I'm really impressed with this little tool. It does a lot of the heavy lifting that normally you'd have to roll your own with fonts, all with a simple config file. I love all these little tools that are popping up in the Astro ecosystem, and this one is no exception. Thanks so much for watching. I'll catch you in the next one. Happy coding.